Hi, and welcome to the How to Issue a Tax Receipt tutorial. As a Calgary Food Bank volunteer and representative, it is your job to fill out the information on the tax receipt. This is their official charitable tax receipt and record of donation. It is important that the information meets all of the Canada Revenue Agency requirements. To be accepted, it must be readable, have the donor's full name and mailing address, have the correct date including the year, represent a single type of donation, and be signed by a Calgary Food Bank representative such as yourself. In our first example, you are at a Stampede breakfast accepting non-perishable and monetary donations for the Calgary Food Bank. Our donor, Lisa Simpson, would like to make a $20 cash donation, and she would like a tax receipt for her donation. To meet Canada Revenue Agency's requirements, you must first ensure that the tax receipt is readable. A Calgary Food Bank staff member needs to be able to read it for data entry after the event. Second, the tax receipt must have the donor's full name and mailing address. Their phone number and email address are appreciated but optional. The third requirement is that the tax receipt must have the correct date. The format for the date is day, month, and year. The fourth requirement is that the tax receipt only represent a single type of donation. Also, make sure to mark the donation type and to record the donation in its number and word form like you would do when writing a check. The fifth and last requirement is that the tax receipt must be signed by a Calgary Food Bank representative, such as a volunteer like yourself or a staff member. Once the tax receipt is complete, the white copy is detached and goes to the donor. This is their official tax receipt. The yellow copy is detached and goes into the donation box with the money. The pink copy stays in the book for the Calgary Food Bank records. For our next example, you are at a Calgary Safeway accepting non-perishable and monetary donations for the Friends Helping Friends campaign. Our donor, Tim Horton, has purchased a cart full of groceries that he wants to donate, and he has asked for a tax receipt for his purchase. In order to issue a tax receipt for a donation of food, the donor needs to provide the purchase receipt. The purchase receipt will need to be attached to the yellow copy that goes in the donation box. For a third example, you are at a Calgary CoOp accepting non-perishable and monetary donations for the Stuff a Bus campaign. Our donors, Mickey and Minnie Mouse, want to make a $100 donation, but they don't have any cash, and you don't have one of our Moneris terminals to accept a debit or credit card. If you receive a donation that needs to be processed after the event, such as a credit card or a gift card, please complete the Calgary Food Bank donation form found at the back of the green volunteer information folder. The Calgary Food Bank will mail the donor their official tax receipt after the event. Please do not issue a tax receipt at this time. You can also use this form if you run out of tax receipts. For our fourth example, you are at a Sobeys accepting non-perishable and monetary donations for the Friends Helping Friends campaign. Our donor, Snow White, has purchased a food bank pre-pack in addition to her groceries and would like a tax receipt for her donation. In this example, the tax receipt is issued in the amount of the pre-pack, which is $10. Not for the entire grocery purchase like we did in example 2. Again, in order to issue a tax receipt for a donation of food, the donor needs to provide the purchase receipt. The purchase receipt will then get attached to the yellow copy that goes in the donation box. In our fifth and final example, you are at CBC accepting non-perishable and monetary donations for the CBC Christmas Food Drive campaign. Our donor, Prince Charming, would like to make a $150 donation and purchase 2 of our Emma and the Food Bank books, which are $10 each, using his debit card. You do luckily have a Moneris terminal on site. A tax receipt can only be issued for a donation. According to the Canada Revenue Agency, a donation, also known as a gift, is a voluntary transfer of property without valuable consideration to the donor. In this example, the transaction of $150 qualifies as a donation, and Prince Charming can receive a tax receipt. The purchase of a product is not considered a donation because the donor gets something for their transaction. In this example, Prince Charming purchased 2 Emma and the Food Bank books Therefore, the transaction is considered a purchase, not a donation. So to recap, Prince Charming gets the 2 books and the tax receipt for the $150 donation only. Don't forget to keep the money for the donation and the purchase separate. Another thing to note about this example, Prince Charming made both a donation and a purchase. When there is more than one transaction type, more than one transaction needs to be processed. So Prince Charming used his debit card for his donation and then for his purchase. If Prince Charming wanted to use both cash and his credit card to make his donation, both payment types will need to be processed separately and receive separate tax receipts. In Part B of this example, Prince Charming paid $25 in cash, $125 on his Visa for the donation, and $20 on his debit for the books. Thank you for completing the How to Issue a Tax Receipt tutorial. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.